we moved to Germantown. We bought our house in Germantown because it was a quiet bedroom community, and it has strict building codes limiting what developers could do. You couldn't build tall buildings. You couldn't build super dense developments in the city. And the perception was always, in my mind, and I think others, that developers really had to jump through hoops and follow strict rules, and codes were strict, and that's what kept Germantown's values high and kept Germantown the wonderful place that it is. Soon it became very apparent that they were bypassing the 35-foot high building code to allow large hotels, large apartment blocks, and things that I thought Germantown didn't allow. And instead of the developers having to jump through hoops in order to do something, it turns out that the city was jumping through hoops trying to get the developers to come to Germantown and build these huge hotels, large apartment complexes, and things like that.
They do everything like that. I mean, everything they do is to benefit developers and to hide what they're doing. We have empty storefronts all over Germantown, and yet they're still building. The apartments that they built that they claim there was such a demand for, still huge vacancies in them.
We realized something wasn't quite right because they were about to cut down all the trees at the corner of Germantown Road and Neshoba.
I remember a similar circumstance in the late 1970s when I lived in New Orleans East. A massive array of apartment complexes were built. Trees had to be torn up to build the complexes. Ground had to be loosened and covered up with pavement in order to build these complexes. Not long thereafter, massive street flooding occurred.
In the area of stormwater runoff, drainage ditches, I have a drainage ditch right behind my house in the area called Neshoba North. Just this year and last year, we had 2 major collapses in that ditch. You ask about retaliation. I myself have been retaliated against.
The mayor, the vice mayor, and a couple of the aldermen took an egregiously cheap shot at my wife because she and I were supporting their opponents.
Because of my background, I know there's certain characteristics that you see with all government corruption. Perversion of transparency, reprisal, and favoritism.
We came and we spoke up, and we discovered that the people who favored the developers didn't want us to say anything, and they did everything they could to silence us. And that just made me angrier and more upset. And so I just continued to dig in and question and look, and I discovered a great many things that shocked me and surprised me. It made me very unhappy about Germantown, but I thought, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay and I'm going to fight.